Welcome to Unbound. You're here for conscious chats that go deeper than your Instagram feed, where we ditch the dogma but keep it real. So let's get unbound. Unbound crew, this is my first solo episode, and you'll discover with this podcast that I'm just kind of going to do whatever I feel like doing. And so there's going to be a little bit of a mix of interviews with Hannah. Hannah's going to stay a part of the podcast, and we have such great chats together, and I love her worthy inquiry and the chats that we have as a team. And then I will continue to bring you guests, so you'll hear from people that I feel called to bring into this space and share their experience with you and the wisdom they've gained and their pathway to becoming unbound. And then whenever I feel like I just want to get in here and riff on a topic, I'm going to do it. So today I wanted to talk to you about the Bday Blues. This came up recently in one of my group meditation sessions where someone asked, what is this phenomenon around feeling blue on your birthday? She had her birthday coming up, I think it was the next day, but she'd also spoken to some of her friends and said this seems to be quite a common phenomenon. What's the deal? So I wanted to break it down for you today and also give you some tips and tools on how to avoid the Bday blues and to really experience it in a way that allows you to celebrate this incredible experience of life and you, the incredible being that you are, not sink into those lower values on the birthday. But let's dive back to why this tends to come up. When we think about the birthday, it's a celestial event. It is the solar return where the sun comes back to the position that it was on the day of your birth. And so the sun is really, it's about drive, it's about illumination. So it causes us to look at things. It's shining sometimes quite a harsh light on life. And the sun is also about what we're driving towards, what it is that we really want to create an experience in life. So when this harsh light is really cast on our experience in a way that shows us all of the things that we haven't done or that we don't have, and this whole sense of lack that can really crop up as a result of that, that can make us feel a little bit flat. It is sometimes called a cruel planet, which is really a low-grade view of understanding it. It's just that each planet is a spectrum. On the highest value, the sun is all about light, illumination, wisdom, drive, the capacity to have very high principles and follow through on that. But of course, when we turn that power for negative uses, we turn it around on ourselves and cast a very harsh light on things, it can cause a little bit of suffering. So we want to elevate out of that harsh light where we're focused on all the things that we don't have and all of the things that we aren't, and really tune into all of the things that we are instead. But this is one of the reasons why we can have a little bit of the blues, particularly if something major is missing from your life or you feel it's missing and the perception is kind of dominated by that. So maybe you haven't had children yet, or you're single, or you're just not where you want to be in certain things, or you're struggling with certain health elements. There can be so many different challenges that we might be experiencing at a different point in time. So that is one of the factors. The other one is that there's quite a lot of expectation around birthdays. You know, from the moment that we're born, there is this hype around the day. So, you know, our parents do our best for us in creating the special day and the presents and the cakes. I mean, it is a very heightened and elevated day right from the word go. And then, you know, as we get older, we don't have parents necessarily around to throw us the big birthday bash, right? So we might have a certain set of expectations around it being linked up to our self-worth, how loved we are, depends on, you know, what's happening on our birthday, who remembers, who buys the gifts, who shows up, who's organized something for us. And I think that when there's parts of us that are feeling a little bit needy or a little bit sad inside, or a little bit, again, very conscious or focused on that day because of that strong sun energy around things that we don't have or things that we aren't, we might be looking to get that from an external experience, to be proved that we're worthy, to be proved that we are lovable by, you know, who shows up. And we might have quite a lot of heightened focus around this. And I speak about this from experience. I think back long before I started going down this more conscious path and bringing in tools and techniques that allow me to really become aware of these old patterns and to release a lot of the underlying stress and insecurity that I had, I used to find birthdays quite a big day, and I would feel this sort of build up, what's it going to be like? Are people going to remember? But then I would also not set myself up for success by sometimes I wouldn't tell anyone about the birthday. And there might be lots of reasons why you don't do that. Maybe you're away. I've had people on retreat who don't tell us it's the birthday sometimes, or you don't tell the office, or you don't remind people. Like pre-Facebook, we didn't get the automatic reminder that it was someone's birthday. Now at least there's a little thing that pops up. And we've got automated calendars and things like that. But prior to that, we were just kind of expecting people to know, and that to be a measure of how much they cared about us. At least that was true for me. There might be other reasons why you maybe feel uncomfortable with being the center of attention, or there's some kind of complex emotional response that comes up in you around being celebrated, but it also doesn't really match up with your inner sense of deserving power. So you don't really feel like you deserve to be celebrated, and creates this complex arrangement of within you that you then avoid kind of having that celebration, but then you feel sad because no one celebrated you and nothing special happened on your birthday. So we can create this kind of cycle. And I'm talking about it today because I think it's a really good one to start to become aware of what some of our drivers are and what kind of experience we're creating. If you're out there having great birthdays and you don't really care, then this maybe isn't for you, but it can also give you a little bit of insight to perhaps some people in your life for whom birthdays are a big deal, and you see that they kind of care a little bit more, and maybe you'll have an understanding of why that might be. There's always something when we're listening, even if it isn't directly related to ourselves. I think if we become a little bit more aware, then we can start to have the kind of birthdays that we really want to feel, which is where we feel happy and grounded and celebrated and connected. And if we don't let people know it's our birthday, then we're not going to be able to feel connected. It's not really useful to have your self-worth tied up in what other people do for you on a particular day, because you're relying on people who, and we know what life is like for most people these days. It's very busy. There are lots of things to remember. People are tired. People are stressed. People are very engaged with their family demands or what's going on immediately in front of them, as are we. And there are times when you, I'm sure, have forgotten other people's birthdays and felt really bad. And you'll feel extra bad about that because you have this inner feeling of how important birthdays are to you. And so sometimes maybe you're the person that goes out of your way to really remember and celebrate and make birthday special for others because that's what you're really craving yourself. But we have to recognize that that's not the case for all people. For some people, it's just not a big deal. And so therefore they may just kind of forget and send you a message later, but you're on the day thinking, why didn't this person remember me? Like, are we still friends? Do they really care about me if they forgot my birthday? They didn't even bother to call and they just sent a message. These kind of things, when we're getting into that kind of cycle, that kind of thinking and being very aware of who's called, who hasn't, who made an effort, who hadn't, and we're sort of subtly cataloging that in our mind, is probably a bit of an indication that there is some tendency there to be measuring your self-worth and measuring how much you're loved by what others are doing for you on the day. And what others are doing is really based on wherever they're at on that particular day, which can be all manner of things, based on their stress, based on how many demands they've got going on. Perhaps it's a really busy work day and they were just totally focused on that and they completely forgot. But if you were to ask them, what do you mean to them? They'd be like, oh, I absolutely love her or him, and they're just, such a special person in my life. This shows us really that the birthday and what people do on the birthday for you, if this is part of the thing for you, really has nothing to do with how they feel about you. It's just how they were showing up on that day, which means that it's not relevant and we're going to be creating our own suffering. And this podcast is all about becoming unbound, liberated from all of these different areas in life that cause us suffering. So it's about pulling back from that and recognizing, okay, I'm not going to look to what everyone does on my birthday or what happens on the day, how much celebration, how many remembered messages, phone calls, no kind of measurement. Because if I'm measuring, if I'm counting, if I'm looking, it means that I am really sort of basing my self-worth on the actions of others. And that's an external orientation. Your self-worth is innate. It's in who you are. It's in your value as a being and all the wonderful innate natural qualities that you just have for existing on this earth. So if we really want to use the birthday for its true purpose, it's a celebration of life. That was the day that you were born. And so for me, I've had the experience of cancer, which really is a great leveler for appreciation of life. And so I like to, on my birthday, and this is what I would encourage you to do if you're wanting to make a shift around this. I'm single at the moment. As of this year, I just turned 44. And I'm living in Byron at this point in time, and I don't have heaps of friends around. I'm still new to this town. I've got lots of friends in other places, but I knew that it was going to be a day where my family's not here either. So it's unlikely that all of a sudden, some surprise birthday thing's going to come out of the ether. I'm pretty comfortable on my own, but I didn't want there to be any lingering emotion that might kind of crop up. Of course, I'm very comfortable feeling those things, but I want to set myself up for success. So I want to move towards the kind of day that I want to have rather than kind of waiting and hoping and being in a little bit of self-victimization around, oh, well, probably no one will remember and no one will be around. And, you can get into that mode. So, for example, for me, I wanted to, just enjoy my day. And so I thought about what are some things that I can do for me. This is a day of celebration where I can celebrate myself just as much as anyone else. And in fact, probably better because I know myself best. I know what kind of drink I want. I know what kind of cake I want. It's not someone turning up with, a banana cake when you're not really a fan of that. You can design your own day to be a celebration of you. And this is a really healthy approach that's not determined by others, where you can take the power back and move out of a state of victimhood and the likelihood of getting into those blues, like sitting at home thinking, being aware no one's remembered or not much is happening, or you're spending a lot of time alone, whatever it might be. Particularly, if you're single. If you're not single, then it might just be more of an attitude adjustment that is needed. So I really encourage beginning the day with gratitude.
If you're loving Unbound and would like to tap in a little deeper, my membership space Pocket Guru is your ideal next step. It's super accessible, daily wisdom notes dropping into your pocket via WhatsApp Monday to Friday, but just 15 to 20 minutes of audio. Like a mini pod, but more intimate. Hear how this wisdom really comes to life in the context of real life niggles. Ask your questions anonymously, listen on the go, and join a vibrant community of over 200 members. I'd love to see you inside via the link in the show notes or via my Instagram bio @GVMeditation.
Because gratitude really helps us move out of these lower cycles of thinking and puts our attention on everything that we do have rather than everything that we don't have. All of this sense of lack, I don't have this, I'm not yet at that, I'm not where I wanted to be at this particular age, which is really, we can have those kind of thoughts for our whole life and miss all the things that we do have. And one thing that you have definitely is life. You're alive in this body, and that is a really powerful thing. So I spent the day, I took some time, I went down to the beach. I was like, I'm going to have a lovely morning meditation, looking at the sun. Again, engaging with the sun is a really beautiful way to honor what this day is really about, your solar return. Another year has passed, and in this year, you've had all of these life experiences because you're alive, and we can't take that for granted. So spending some time in a state of gratitude for reflecting on, and again, that's a beautiful use of that sun energy, is to reflect, to allow the light, a beautiful light, a white light of gratitude rather than a harsh light of a sense of lack, a harsh contrast of about what's not there, rather this beautiful glow of appreciation over the whole year that's been and this life that you get to still be. Your heart is beating, blood is moving around your body, your lungs are pumping oxygen, you're taking in life force, you're here, you're still here through everything that you've experienced, all of the challenges, you get to still be here. And I think that is a great gift that's really worthy of celebration, a high principle, a high value use of that sun energy on your birthday, on your solar return. So I recommend taking some time for you alone on that day. And instead of that alone time being about self-flagellation and all the things that you don't have, that you're not good enough, but to rather be about celebration of you, of reflecting on all the experiences that you've been able to have, the challenges, the growth, and appreciating life as it is for you now is a really powerful way to start the day, and that's going to really set the tone. When we start with that attitude of gratitude, what we're going to find is that everything that comes after that is like a cherry on top. You're not going to be in the state of calculating, looking for something to, prove something to you, and then really a lot of disappointment when it doesn't happen. We can appreciate every message you receive, appreciate every phone call, even if it's only one, even if it's just your mum. Well, how lucky are you to have a mum that is still in the body and that's there, or whatever it might be. Appreciating the sunlight, appreciating this life, everything that it has to it. The beautiful scenery that you get to witness, the light, the yummy food that you get to enjoy. And so that's how I started my day, and I really set forth some intentions for the next year, putting my intention and attention on that which I really want to experience, that I want to create for myself, rather than creating a sense of lack and then, building that and bringing that forth into manifestation. So I'm putting my attention on that which I want to receive, and it really puts forth a powerful positive energy on that day, which is a really good, again, aligned use of that energy on your birthday. Then I went out to breakfast and had a lovely breakfast exactly where I wanted, and a lovely matcha, and enjoyed. And then, I told some new friends, hey, would you like to come out to dinner with me? It's my birthday and I'd really love to celebrate. And they were like, yeah, there's no way that they're going to know that it's my birthday. I'm not going to sit around and wait if I feel like going out. And I may not. I may just want to cozy up on the couch and watch my favorite show uninterrupted. You do you. But I felt like going out and celebrating. I was in that kind of mode. And so I looked for people. I arranged something for myself that I wanted to experience. And I think for many years, particularly, in my earlier years, in my teens and 20s, I would really wait to see what people would do. And of course, they're kind of setting yourself up for disappointment on that level, because they almost always never do enough or never do quite the right thing. Whereas you know what you want to do on your birthday. So just go out and do it, and reach out to some friends, let them know, create a little WhatsApp group, and just say, hey, it's my birthday on Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. I'd love to, catch up for a drink or dinner or cake or coffee or whatever it might be, a walk, and love to see any of you if you're available. And that way you're always going to have some people that turn up, some might not be available, but you get to connect. And particularly, I think being at home alone on that day is probably not going to set yourself up for success either. So really taking the power back into your own hands and not creating or continuing to create this cycle is something that I would recommend. So there's a few tips in there. I also think thinking about things that you would particularly like to do, like what's a way to treat yourself on that day? Maybe it's going to a really lovely sauna, or getting a massage, getting a facial, treating yourself a little bit, going out to your favorite restaurant for lunch, even if it's by yourself. I'm sure you'll be able to find someone that would love to join you, but equally going out with yourself and a great book is also a wonderful way to spend your time. Just really coming back to that deeper truth of this day is a celebration of still being alive, still getting to enjoy, and all that you've got still ahead of you. And so trying to shift your attention and really stay in that energy of appreciation, casting the light of wisdom, the light of friendliness, the light of self-compassion on yourself and on life, rather than the harsh light of judgment, which can be the low value use of that sun energy. So I hope that that's given a little bit of clarity around why we might have these birthday blues. It can also bring up, very deep pain around grief of loved ones, which is again casting that light on that which is no longer here. And I think if things do come up for you, even though you've set yourself up for success, and if you're in a position where you're dealing with a very recent death of a loved one or a breakup or something like that, then you're going to want to really feel even more deeply into what it is that would be supportive for you this year, which may not be the same as other years. Maybe you really need to be around close, supportive people. Maybe there's just one friend that you want to spend the day with or want to hang out with, or maybe you prefer to be alone, but also really feeling into, are you making that choice just because you feel like there's going to be some grief, but actually maybe being alone isn't going to be the most supportive. So you'll spend some time alone, perhaps in reflection and appreciation of the role that loved one played for you, if it is about someone that's passed away, or in self-honoring about the ending of the relationship, that whether it was your choice or not, that you were able to come out of that you're still here standing, you're making your way through it, and you're going to and are feeling better and better by the day, and you're going to go on to have other wonderful relationships that are more aligned for you. There's a reason why this hasn't lasted. Even if it wasn't your decision, it needs to be both people aligned, and it isn't a reflection of your worth or value either. It's just simply that relationship has run its course and you've learned many things, I'm sure. So perhaps taking some time, if it is coming up for you, it's top of mind to really reflect on what those things are and put your attention on what kind of relationship you want to experience with yourself, which is always your primary relationship in life, and also with others, and putting your attention on that which you want to create, again, rather than something that wasn't for you, that's ultimately been shifted out of your awareness. But just if you're in those tougher spots in life where things are really crunchy of a particular year, then feeling into what might be relevant for you at that time, what would be supportive, letting your friends know how you're feeling. I'm feeling a little bit down, you'd really love to see you. If there's one person let them know you're the one person I want to see on this day. Is there some time that we can schedule together, or go out for dinner, or go out for lunch, or hang out for the day together if it's possible, depending on their other commitments, so that you're letting people know what it is that you really need, and inviting them in to let them know you a little bit more deeply and exactly where you're at on that particular day. And again, people may forget because people are just busy, and it's not a measure of their love or care for you. And you'll have some friends who are much better at remembering that kind of thing, and others who, just are more forgetful generally, and it's more just about their state rather than the measure of their love. So on those years, that's what I'd recommend doing. Again, setting yourself up for the most supportive day that's going to really suit you in that moment. And some reflection, again, trying to come from that higher perspective of appreciation and love and compassion for yourself, and appreciation for those loved ones that you got to spend time with. And if you're grieving, it means there was great love for however long that lasted, however long they were in your life for, in terms of a loved one, or however long you got to experience that relationship, which just because it's ended doesn't mean that it didn't have great value for you in terms of the time you were in it, and also what you gained and what you learned as a result. So I hope this has given you a little bit of insight, a little bit of a roadmap to shift the birthday blues. I would love to hear from you if this resonates, and if you are going to use some of these techniques to support you on your next birthday. Wishing you all very beautiful, loving, celebratory, and grateful birthdays heading on from here. See you next time. Thanks for getting unbound with us today. We'd so appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave us a review and to share this episode with anyone who you think could benefit. It helps us to keep these conscious conversations flowing. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. See you next week.